Centralia, Pennsylvania, in the early decades of the 20th century, was more than just a dot on a map. It was a vibrant microcosm of American industry, a testament to the sweat and toil of generations. Nestled deep within the anthracite coal region, its prosperity was etched into every brick of its bustling main street, every laughter echoing from its tight-knit community. Life here revolved around the mines, their dark maw promising both peril and providence. Elias, a man whose hands bore the indelible marks of countless shifts underground, embodied this spirit. A veteran miner, his lineage was inextricably woven into Centralia's very bedrock, his family's legacy buried deep within the earth, just like the coal they extracted. He knew the town's pulse, its rhythms, its secrets with an intimacy few others possessed. Into this world a young woman named Sarah arrived, a whirlwind of urban ambition from the bustling streets of Philadelphia. A journalist, sharp-eyed and eager, she sought to document the fading glory of America's industrial heartland. Her initial perception of Centralia was perhaps a common one, just another declining mining town, its best days behind it, slowly fading into obscurity. She saw the surface, the visible decline, the familiar narrative. Yet, beneath her feet, and indeed, beneath the entire town, lay a sprawling, intricate labyrinth of abandoned coal tunnels, a silent, unseen network that belied Centralia's seemingly straightforward existence. Elias, with his miner's intuition, possessed an almost sixth sense for these subterranean arteries, their paths and perils etched into his very being. Sarah, however, remained focused on her interviews, her camera capturing the worn faces of the miners, the crumbling facades of company houses, blissfully unaware of the deeper complexities hidden beneath the town's stoic exterior. The inevitable clash between progress and pragmatism arrived in the form of a town council meeting. The air hung heavy with the scent of stale coffee and desperation as officials grappled with the ever-present challenge of waste disposal. The solution, presented with a flourish of fiscal responsibility, was simple: burn the accumulated trash in the local landfill. Elias, present as a concerned citizen, felt a prickle of unease. He knew the landfill's location intimately, its unsettling proximity to several old, forgotten mine shafts. His voice, usually steady, held a tremor of quiet concern as he raised the issue, his words a soft counterpoint to the council's enthusiastic cost-cutting rhetoric. His warnings were politely, yet firmly dismissed. Sarah, meticulously taking notes from the back of the room, observed Elias's visible discomfort but failed to grasp its profound significance. Her journalistic lens was fixed on the bureaucratic dance, the mundane processes of a town trying to manage its affairs. The day of the landfill burn arrived, an event that should have been utterly unremarkable. A column of thick, black smoke rose into the clear Pennsylvania sky, a common enough sight in industrial towns. Yet for Elias, watching from a distance, a cold dread began to seep into his bones. A tremor, not of the earth, but of foreboding, ran through him. It was a premonition, a whisper of disaster from the deep. Sarah, meanwhile, busily snapped photographs, her camera capturing the dramatic plumes, unknowingly documenting the very genesis of a catastrophe that would soon define Centralia's tragic legacy. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel and tell us in the comments where you are watching from. The last image of that seemingly ordinary day was a close-up, a tiny, almost imperceptible crack in the sun-baked earth near the landfill, from which a faint, ethereal wisp of smoke curled upwards, a silent, unheard scream against the vast indifference of the sky. Months melted into seasons, and with them, subtle, insidious changes began to creep across Centralia. The faint wisp of smoke near the landfill, once an easily dismissed anomaly, had grown bolder, its acrid scent now a persistent undertone in the town's air. Elias, driven by an instinct honed over decades underground, felt a growing unease. He started his own investigation, a solitary, determined man tracing the invisible veins of danger. He walked the periphery of town, his eyes scanning for irregularities, his nose testing the wind. Soon he found them, faint plumes of smoke curling from old, forgotten mining vents, wisps that spoke not of surface fires, but of something far more sinister burrowing beneath. He brought his concerns to the local officials, the same men who had so readily dismissed his warnings about the landfill. They listened impatiently, their faces etched with a practiced skepticism. His observations were downplayed, attributed to overactive imagination, old mine gases, or simply the natural decay of the earth. Just settling, they'd say, or nothing to worry about, Elias, the mines are sealed. Sarah, who had chosen to extend her stay in Centralia, drawn by an unspoken sense of lingering stories, initially trusted the official narrative. She documented the town's slow recovery from the initial landfill fire, focusing on the resilience of its people. Yet, the odd smells, the increasingly frequent warm patches of ground beneath her feet, began to prickle her journalistic curiosity. She found herself questioning the easy assurances, her camera now subtly searching for what lay beneath the surface, much like Elias. The fire, unseen and relentless, continued its subterranean march. Its progress became undeniable, manifesting in increasingly alarming ways. Trees near the old mine shafts began to wither and die, their leaves browning prematurely as if scorched by an invisible sun. Small, unsettling sinkholes appeared, shallow depressions at first, then gaping maw-like fissures that swallowed fences and small sheds whole. Most terrifyingly, an insidious, odorless threat began to seep into homes: carbon monoxide. Elias's family became a tragic testament to the escalating danger. His youngest grandson, a bright-eyed boy with a love for drawing, fell gravely ill, his small body racked by the invisible gas. This personal tragedy ignited Elias's crusade, transforming his quiet concern into a burning, unyielding determination. Sarah, witnessing the town's slow unraveling, could no longer ignore the truth. The turning point arrived with a dramatic, terrifying incident. During a seemingly ordinary afternoon while she was photographing children playing, a section of the town park suddenly gave way, a small but significant sinkhole opening with a sickening crunch. The ground, once firm, now revealed its treacherous instability. The cries of alarmed parents, the hasty scrambling of children, forced Sarah to confront the undeniable severity of the situation. Her detached journalistic eye transformed into one of urgent empathy. She began interviewing affected families, their stories of illness, property damage, and fear echoing Elias's initial warnings. She spent hours with Elias, his quiet wisdom and deep knowledge of the mines now invaluable. Meanwhile, the local official, the same man who had brushed aside Elias's concerns, found himself caught between a rock and a hard place. Under immense pressure from the state, and fearing the economic ruin that a declared disaster would bring, he made a decision that would haunt Centralia for generations. He subtly, insidiously, downplayed the fire's severity to state authorities, painting a picture of minor, localized issues rather than an uncontrollable inferno. He chose self-preservation and the illusion of financial stability over the safety of his community. The town fractured, a painful divide emerging between those who believed Elias, demanding immediate and decisive action, and those who clung desperately to the official reassurances, terrified of panic, property value drops, and the unknown. Sarah's articles, once observational, now shifted dramatically. Her prose became sharper, more urgent, highlighting the growing danger and the government's inexplicable inaction. She garnered both praise from the worried residents and scathing criticism from those who accused her of fear-mongering and sensationalism. The tension culminated in a heated confrontation between Elias and the official, a raw public exchange that laid bare the layers of denial, self-interest, and bureaucratic blindness that had allowed the catastrophe to fester. One sweltering afternoon, Elias, driven by an insatiable need for answers, ventured into an old, unstable mine shaft, a place even he usually avoided. The air was thick with sulfur and a suffocating heat. He navigated the crumbling passages, his lamp casting dancing shadows on the sweating rock. Suddenly, a deafening roar echoed through the tunnel. The ground beneath him shuddered violently, and a section of the ceiling collapsed, showering him with dust and debris. He scrambled, narrowly escaping the crushing weight, his lungs burning. Emerging from the darkness covered in soot and grime, he clutched a piece of superheated coal, glowing with an internal malevolent heat. His face was a mask of grim determination, a terrifying certainty in his eyes. Sarah, who had followed him, witnessing his terrifying emergence, understood then, beyond any doubt, the true, vast, and horrifying scale of the inferno beneath Centralia. The evidence was irrefutable, searingly hot in Elias's soot-stained hand. The government's intervention finally arrived, not as a savior but as an executioner. Scientists, their faces grim, confirmed Elias's worst fears. The fire, an inferno of unimaginable scale, raged unchecked beneath Centralia, far beyond any hope of containment. The verdict was stark, absolute: evacuation and condemnation. Centralia was to be erased, its burning heart left to consume itself. Elias, his spirit hardened by years of unspoken warnings and the fire's relentless advance, refused to leave. This was more than just land. It was his family's legacy, generations etched into the very coal seams below. To abandon it was to surrender, to concede victory to the subterranean enemy that had stolen his grandson's health, his neighbor's peace, and his town's future. He would not allow it. He rallied the remaining residents, a defiant few who, like him, saw leaving as a final, unforgivable betrayal. Sarah, now fully immersed in their struggle, became their fierce voice. Her articles, once chronicles, transformed into crusades. She meticulously exposed the human cost of the government's decision, unearthing the local officials' early cover-ups, presenting irrefutable evidence of bureaucratic negligence, and laying bare the perceived betrayal by the very authorities sworn to protect them. The words she penned resonated with a raw power, painting a vivid picture of a community sacrificed on the altar of expediency. A tense confrontation ensued, a stark tableau against the backdrop of a dying town. Elias, flanked by his small, resolute band of residents, stood firm against government agents, their faces hardened by official directives. Around them, the macabre symphony of demolition began, houses being systematically razed, their timbers splintering, their foundations crumbling. Each falling wall was a blow to the heart, creating an increasingly desolate, apocalyptic landscape. The air, already thick with smoke, now carried the dust of shattered dreams. Slowly, agonizingly, Centralia emptied. Homes that once echoed with laughter and life were systematically reduced to rubble. Yet a small, defiant group, led by the unyielding Elias, held their ground. They became an island of resistance in a sea of destruction. Isolation became their constant companion, dwindling resources a daily challenge, and the insidious threat of the fire, a pervasive, ever-present danger. The ground beneath their feet was a constant reminder of the inferno, often warm to the touch, sometimes emitting faint wisps of smoke that tasted of sulfur and loss. Sarah, a loyal chronicler, documented their struggle, her dispatches becoming a national sensation. She captured their resilience, their quiet courage, and the unique, heartbreaking tragedy of Centralia, ensuring their story would not be buried with the town. Elias, amidst the desolation, found a peculiar form of redemption. He became the silent guardian of Centralia's last vestiges, tending to the remaining landmarks, a lone sentinel against the encroaching void. Each intact porch, each surviving tree, was a testament to his unwavering spirit, a small victory against overwhelming odds. Years passed, blurring into decades. Centralia transformed into a living ghost town, a monument to human stubbornness and the relentless power of nature. Elias, now a stooped, venerable old man, remained, one of the last few souls clinging to the burning earth. He lived amidst the smoke and desolation, his eyes reflecting the sorrow and defiance of his beloved town. Sarah returned periodically, her bond with Elias deepening with each visit. She chronicled the town's slow decay, the enduring spirit of its last residents, and the unwavering flame of Elias's resolve. Her pen became the memory of Centralia, ensuring its story transcended its physical destruction. The final image, etched into the landscape and the collective memory, was that of Elias. He stood on a cracked, buckling road, smoke rising around him like a mournful shroud. His gaze swept across the barren landscape, a testament to what was irrevocably lost, but also to the strength of human will, an unbroken spirit in the face of unimaginable adversity. The fire beneath Centralia still burned, a perpetual, subterranean inferno. But so too did the memory of Centralia, kept alive not just by the smoke and the ruined landscape, but by the defiant heart of Elias and the enduring stories woven by Sarah. In his refusal to yield, Elias had achieved a different kind of victory, preserving the town's spirit against the overwhelming, consuming fire, ensuring that Centralia, though physically gone, lived on.